From In the Beginning to the Musical Apocalypse, this is The Bible Says What. I'm your host, Mike Wiseman. Things I've seen on TV versus reality. The Invisible Man is a fun story, even the Kevin Bacon version. But I'm not scared there's an invisible man lurking around. I've seen aliens observing humans from the sky undetected, yet I don't fear I'm being watched by some unseen beings in the sky. I don't live with irrational fears besides my slight fear of arachnids, which I'm working on. I've watched leprechauns, elves, and witches wield magic that can manipulate the world around them, but I don't expect to meet any of these characters. I know that magic is not real. The magicians you see on TV or the stage are mere illusionists. When I see Penn and Teller put on a magic show, I know that these guys are not using any magical forces to accomplish their tricks. These people don't use real magic for their acts. I've watched Jesus, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a man named Brian all get crucified. Arnold, the only one of the three to survive the ordeal, while Jesus died and came back to life. The moral of the story is seeing these things on television or reading them in a book does not make any of them true. People don't come back from the dead, and in Arnold's case, if someone did actually bite and kill a vulture that was pecking at their flesh while undergoing a crucifixion, that would be pretty badass. But I still wouldn't worship him. Fiction is fiction, no matter how much you want it to be true. Let's start the show.
Is there anything in the Bible that you yourself have an issue with?
Well, divine blast.
I actually enjoyed arguing with you and stuff.
God doesn't kill children.
What do you think the Passover was? Are you reading a different Bible?
No.
You worship him because of the things he's done. Why can I not judge him because of the things he's done?
Obey me or I'll kill your kids. It doesn't seem very holy
well,
to me.
that's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a tough life.
DJ Chuang, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being here.
You can record just like this.
Yeah, there it is. Click. It's super cool, man. I got this little program that works simultaneously with Skype, so it's pretty awesome.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what exactly is it that you do? I know I've been on your page. You've got a lot on there, including the Yogurtland fan page.
Oh yeah, you found that. Good.
Biology as well.
Yeah, I have a handful of different interests. So I'm a freelance consultant, so I work with 3 different organizations right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a few side projects. So,
what church related? What is it you do exactly?
Well, I'm kind of the generic church consultant, but I don't get paid for it. So it's more like
Bummer.
A hobby. Yeah. Because I don't have the business acumen. I finally figured out the subtext to all those entrepreneur books and consulting books that they don't tell you. You got to have that drive and that killer instinct to close deals and negotiate business, which I don't.
Yeah.
But I know how to start things on no budget, so I innovate on the internet quite a bit. So I've been blogging since 2000. I've been podcasting since 2012. So I like to be first in trying new things.
That's fun.
And along the way, I've worked in the nonprofit world. I pastored for 5 years. I've worked for a family foundation. I'm currently working on the engineering of a top-level domain. So the internet has 1,000 new extensions now. Like there was the .com, .net, .org, and then it multiplied to .cc and .fm and .tv, and then in late 2015 they rolled out another 1,000 in the next 3 years, like .golf and football and network, all kinds of things.
That's
and
overwhelming.
I work on the infrastructure for .bible. So that's been my job for the past 7 years. This week we just rolled out a new VR game that is the reimagined David versus Goliath, where you actually get to swing a sling. And then I run tech support. Been building a new website for a small, tiny nonprofit. So those are the things that pay the bill, but my personal interests are things that don't have a market yet, and so that's what I'm constantly experimenting with.
Love it, man. I love it.
So what that looks like.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what that looks like is a podcast I started 2 years ago called Erasing Shame.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to create a safe place where people can talk about hard things about life, so that we can live healthy with respect to mental health, and also in Asian American cultures. I'm Chinese by heritage. And then the next one I'm tackling is generosity. So in the midst of our crisis, I realized there's people getting richer, and there's people sitting on millions and billions of dollars doing nothing with it in a broken and needy world. So I'd like to see what can be done to change that.
Nice. Yeah. A little more empathy, I think, is in order. Get a little bit more empathy.
A lot more empathy, and activating it with some concrete cash.
Yeah. Money always is a good stimulant, I guess, huh?
Well, it's a hard nut to crack, but that's where the rubber meets the road.
Well, there's a lot there. I love the VR game with David and Goliath. I don't know if you remember, but like I think it was the original Nintendo. I had a Noah's Ark game where you had to collect all the animals and stuff. Man, that was so much fun. I played that thing forever. Yeah,
great.
That's so funny.
Well, if you have a VR headset, I can introduce you to this new game.
Well, maybe one day. Those things are pretty cool.
Okay. Yes.
So you were
Facebook
a pastor.
has invested a lot, and they've rolled out a new one for $2.99. So I think that's a game changer.
Yeah. You know, everything I see is that was it the Oculus, I think it's called, the Oculus 2. It's like everywhere I see VR, VR. And then of course you come on and you're like, hey, you should probably get one of those. So here we are. Maybe I should get one. It's a sign. It's a sign from Facebook.
Yes. Okay.
Oh man. So you were a pastor for 5 years. How did you like that?
Right. It's okay.
Was it a big church, small church?
I'm the oldest. Small church, 100, 200. Well, two churches. So one was 250. The second one was 100.
Wow.
Being the oldest son in a traditional Chinese family, I was motivated by a lot of duty and responsibility. So the way you live out your faith was to do the dutiful thing and serve God. And then after my 20s, I began to realize life would be a lot better. And I think God, my understanding of God was that I bring everything I have, not just my skills and resolve, but also my desires and passion to make the world a better place. So in my 30s and 40s, that's been the converging of my skills and talents as well as my passions and desires. And now I'm 54 and I finally have the sense of being comfortable in my own skin.
Cool. Yeah, being comfortable is very nice. Yeah, bring all your passion, man. Bring all your creativity, man. Break that dam. Let it go. Let all of it flow. I love it. Absolutely. If you don't bring passion to it, I mean, what's the point? Yeah,
it's being comfortable in one sense because we don't need more stress and anxiety. Second, we need as much, we want to bring as much energy and enthusiasm into what we do, and not just waste that.
I agree.
And
look at us agreeing right off the bat.
Hey, awesome.
I love it.
I've only listened to half your episode, and I've scoured the website. So
nice.
I'm kind of like, wow, what an interesting place that you're having these conversations.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting podcast. It's a lot of fun. Website's a crazy place right now. The wife's still working on it, but it's a lot of fun. There's some fun little Jesus skate videos in there and whatnot. But yeah. So when you were pastoring, I got to know, like, Was there ever a time where it was difficult for you to get through a sermon? Like, was there a specific topic or verse that was brought up, or that you had to teach on, that you had an issue with, that was difficult for you?
We were a small, just a normal church, so we really didn't wrestle with the tough topics.
Pretty straightforward stuff.
There's ways to navigate the Bible where you stick to the inspirational and positive passages, and so you don't have to wrestle with the hard questions of life.
So just leave them aside. Don't even address it.
That's right. And that's how many churchgoers are happy with what they have.
Interesting.
And there's over 300,000 of those around the country. And I don't know how many thousands or I don't know if there's millions around the world, but there's almost 2 billion Christians around the world. So
why would you?
Most of them tend to be.
Why would you leave parts out though? Happy-go-lucky is one thing, but I mean, let's not be blind faith and not look into our own beliefs. I think that's always a good idea.
Well, that's one of the disappointments. Yeah, that's one of the disappointments. I spent 4.5 years in seminary getting trained to be a pastor and Bible teacher, and your average person could care less. Your average person doesn't really think that hard about their faith and their theology and their Bible. They feel like they're doing the right thing just going to church once a week.
Interesting, but why do they think they're doing the right thing?
People.
Why is that the right thing to do, is go to church, do you think?
Well, some people inherit their faith, and then, or a lot of people actually inherit their faith. So there's been a few studies. I haven't studied it thoroughly, but Buddhist families raise up Buddhist kids, Hindus, Muslims,
tends
Christians,
to be that way,
and it just passes from generation to generation. And then there's a small percentage of people, probably less than 20%, that actually explore the whole cafeteria of spirituality and carefully decides which one is quote unquote right for them.
Right, which one they believe it to be the truth.
Subjectively, or objectively, but I think we're realizing neurologically that we're all subjective. And then even in the world of Christianity, you've got over 3,000 denominations in the U.S., 30,000 in the world, and each of them believe and live out the Bible a little differently, and some even very differently.
Right.
And I'm in some circles where the hard passages of the Bible, they were made up by some people, and the Bible's unreliable. And there's scholars who spend their career in life believing the Bible is a mythical but valuable document, essentially.
Well, what is the Bible to you?
Well, to me, it's the portal to life with the creator of the universe.
Portal to life with the creator.
Yes. And it's helped me through the hard times in life. So I've kind of colored outside the lines of how a typical conservative Christian might articulate their faith.
Yeah. Well, like you said, everybody's different. Nobody believes the same thing. I've talked to lots, and I don't think any two are exactly the same. So, a portal to life with the Creator, and then you said He helped you through some hard time. He helped you, or the book helped you, or both?
Well, the book is a pointer. I don't know if you do programming, but the book is a pointer to God. The book itself is the words inspired by God, written by humans. And I think a better way to describe what the Bible is, it's the stories and the experiences of people throughout history with this God, that the monotheistic God that Jews, Christians, and Muslims all believe. And where my thinking is now, what has been most fascinating in the space of religion and spirituality is 3 of the largest world religions all trace back to one person named Abraham.
Mm-hmm. But not the oldest.
So there's
not the
something-
oldest religion. The oldest religion
the oldest,
was
but-
Hinduism. So, I mean...
But most popular.
Well, I mean, popularity, it's not a popularity
zealous.
contest, really. I mean, if
Well, we
Moses
live in a
told you to jump off a bridge,
democracy,
would you jump off a
and
bridge?
we look at social media. A lot of people like popularity, and to have
True,
three
but it doesn't
divergent
make it
things
truth. though.
all
I mean,
trace. No, not necessarily, but there's something to that.
you know, well...
So I'm not saying it's true.
There's a lot of people
But
that
there's
don't
something
believe we
going
landed on
on
the
there.
moon. That doesn't mean we didn't land on the moon. There's lots
Nah.
of people that
That's not popular.
believe...
That's not a popular opinion.
Well, there's a lot of people. There's a
Right.
lot of people that believe there's
Yeah,
space
so-
aliens have visited us. There's a lot of popular
I mean, we're in the
opinions.
midst of COVID. We're in the midst of COVID. There's people
Uh-huh.
that don't believe there's COVID.
True, very true.
I think.
Greg Locke is
So
one of them.
when there's popularity, it does say something.
Eh,
And
yeah, I guess it says
does say
something,
something.
but I mean, it's still at the same time you
Yeah,
have to take it skeptically. You have to look at it. You have to investigate it. You have to see for yourself, even if it's the most popular thing. You
That's
can
fine.
tell me that
fine.
Michael Jackson's music
when
is
it comes to
amazing, but until I
metaphysics-
listen for myself, I
when it
can't
comes
really.
to metaphysics,
Mhm.
and when it comes to metaphysics, there's no proof in it. Metaphysics and philosophy and spirituality. There's no proof in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know metaphysics.
So
I'm not versed
popularity-
in all that, but I can tell you there's no proof
Well,
of
it's
spirituality
all
for
the-
sure.
Well, it's all in that abstract sense of
What if?
it's the intangible stuff of the world.
Yeah, it's the what ifs of the world. What if there's this invisible forces around us besides gravity? What
Well,
if
No,
there's a
philosophy. I mean, do you do philosophy?
No, not typically. I'm kind of a simple guy. You know, I went to Christian homeschool, so I'm kind of limited.
Okay, well, you're wrestling with some pretty heavy stuff.
Uh-huh.
So philosophy, epistemology,
Mhm.
metaphysics, spirituality, it's all in that intangible part of life.
Hmm.
You can't put your finger on it with your 5 senses.
Okay.
So it's all ideas just swimming around in your head.
Ideas. Okay.
Ideas. So ideas, biologically speaking, are just neurological impulses in your head.
Mm-hmm. I can go with that.
And then when I talk, it's sending electrical impulses into the air, into your ear, and then you hear it through your life experiences, and you process it the way you are able to based on your understanding of vocabulary and your understanding of ideas.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And so when we're all in the human condition trying to navigate life,
Mm-hmm.
most of us are trying to make the best of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
But there's some bad people. And so how do you sort through all that?
Great
And
question.
so right, and that's what we're talking about. And so when it comes to understand life, most people look at what most people do,
Okay.
and most people follow blindly. And then there are those who are critical and skeptic who actually look into it and make sure, is that really true? Is that really right?
Right.
And then, well, when it comes to the space of metaphysics and the intangible, well, you can wrestle with it as much as you want, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's no convincing
Right.
until something happens to you personally.
Oh, personal experience. So in other words, I have to have a personal experience in order to believe. Is that what we're getting
That's
here?
what it comes down to.
Gotcha.
That's what it comes down to.
So what was the personal experience,
So
if you don't mind
in
me
the-
asking? What was the personal experience
mind.
that convinced you?
Because there's scholars who know the Bible inside out, and they come to different conclusions.
Uh-huh.
Very smart people, smarter than you and me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what's going on there? Something happened inside of them.
Well, difference of opinions. I mean, We there's
Yeah,
brain
opinion.
surgeons that I would call
Where does
idiots.
opinion
So
come
I
from?
mean,
It's
it doesn't mean that they're
inside of
super.
them.
It doesn't mean they're super smart just because they're a brain surgeon. You know, they're gonna have bad ideas as well. They're not just because they're good at one thing doesn't mean they're logical with everything. You know what I mean?
Well, logic is subjective.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about that, man.
Well,
Like we
again,
can logically say that
logic-
animals don't talk.
logic-
That's logic dictates that
logic
people
is-
don't come back from the
Well, that's
dead.
science.
You know,
That's
logic. Well,
That's science.
scientific.
Now, logic is, again, back in the space of ideas and spirituality and metaphysics and intangible. And there's no way to, quote unquote, prove it scientifically.
Right. So, what was that? The personal experience for you that convinced you that this is it? That you've got Yahweh and Jesus and all that.
So my assumption is, since there's no proof, what's going to help me have the most meaningful life?
Okay. Well, I wouldn't follow a book that tells me to, stone children to death for being disobedient, or people that pick up sticks, or condone slavery for all that blood magic. I don't need that book to tell me how to be a better person. I can find countless self-help books out there that don't tell me to kill anything or anybody, or don't have any blood magic in it at all. I mean, I can find that. I can use that. I think that would be more helpful, especially since this book has been taken the wrong way so many times. For slavery, for instance, it's been used to condone and perpetuate slavery. So I think we can find a better self-help book.
Well, that's not what I was after. I wasn't after the self-help book.
Well, you said it makes you a better
looking-
person, helps you be a better person, guiding.
Not in the self-help sense,
Okay.
but in the I'm at the end of myself and I need help from a higher power.
Right. Again, why do you need a book full of genocide and blood magic and talking animals?
The book is not the point. The book is the portal. The book points to an understanding of the higher power who is good and benevolent. And people have been disobedient and done bad things.
So to understand the good and benevolence of Yahweh, we need the Bible.
It's the best source that I've found so far.
All right. So which part in the Bible is Yahweh being good?
From beginning to end.
Well, he slaughters a bunch of people. He drowns kids. He kills them in the Passover. He causes a lot of carnage. Which part specifically is he being good in?
Well, you know the story of the Passover then.
I know a lot of stories. The Passover is one disgusting story. He wants blood on a doorway so he knows which house to go in to kill their children and which house not to.
That's right.
How is he an
And why
all-knowing
did he do
deity
that?
when he needs blood on a doorway to recognize a house? Second off, how is he
why did
loving
he
when
do
he's
that?
going in and killing children in the middle of the night?
Yes. And so why did he say he did that?
To show off his powers. To get glory for himself.
No.
Romans 9:16. He purposely set this in motion. He says,
Romans wasn't written yet. We're talking Passover.
Romans. I said
Stick with
Exodus. Sorry. Did I say Exodus or Romans? I don't know. But yeah.
You said Romans, but you
Apologies.
mean Exodus. That's fine.
That's definitely what I meant. No, but I mean, he says his reason for doing it, and he says it's because he raised Pharaoh up for this purpose, so that his name will be proclaimed and recognized, and he'll be praised and worshipped. I mean, this is ridiculous. That's quite a disgusting reason to be killing children and causing all this calamity. Could he not free his people another way? With no death?
Sure could have.
Where children didn't have to die?
Well, death is. So where does that leave you?
I wasn't there, so I didn't put any blood on my door.
I know. So you don't like this God?
Well, I don't like his things. You're telling me he's good. I've read his book. In there, I can't find a good part. I can't find the loving part. You're telling me he's good. I'd like to know.
Well,
Can you show me the love inside the Bible?
There's both. There's both good and bad.
There's good and
You've
bad.
highlighted. Yes.
So you would
So
admit
you're
that
highlighting the bad part.
Yahweh doing those things is bad?
Well, from your perspective, from Pharaoh's perspective, that was pretty mean.
From a normal, humanistic, empathetic perspective, this is not a good thing. This is a bad thing. Killing children while they're sleeping for the sole purpose of gaining glory for yourself is a bad thing. Right? I mean, we can both agree on that.
Hold on. No, you're looking at it very incompletely.
How?
Read the story, which you said you have,
I have, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and the purpose of the Passover
Mm-hmm.
was the 10th of 10 plagues. Why did he do 10 plagues?
Why?
Because Pharaoh's heart was hard.
He hardened Pharaoh's heart. He set out to harden Pharaoh's heart. Before the whole thing began, he said he was going to set Pharaoh's heart hard and then kill his son.
Okay.
That was his goal.
So where does that leave you?
I don't know. Thinking that this is a bad God. Thinking that's not a really great idea. Thinking that's probably a monstrous idea to slaughter children in their sleep.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome God.
Why is that awesome?
If God is the most powerful being in the world,
Uh-huh.
and he's responsible for Pharaoh's hard heart,
Uh-huh.
how am I going to go up against a God like that who can kill me?
Well, you can't tell me he's good. I'm not talking about going up against him. I'm not saying, like, let's battle it out with Yahweh. I'm just saying.
Forget that.
Forget what?
Forget that. Forget the good and bad then.
Well, that's what we're on right now.
I've pivoted to say, okay, regardless if it's good and bad, this is God. What are you going to do with that?
I'm going to let you know that you're worshiping a documented child killer, and then question why you would want to worship such a monster. That's where
I have no other choice.
You have no other choice but to worship this child-killing monster. That's such a weird thing to hear.
Well, because you're painting an incomplete picture.
Please tell me where the good part is. You haven't told me where the love is at. Show me the love, man. Where's the love?
All over, from beginning to end, God has been faithful and loving in his patience for people to obey and worship him. Because worshiping anything else will self-destruct.
Well, you're going to get killed if you worship anything else. He doesn't like that. He's jealous.
That's part of it. That's part of it. That's right. God is jealous.
Jealous is such a petty human emotion.
It comes from
Not
God.
from a loving God. And then he gets so jealous, he punishes kids.
That's right.
Exodus 20 verse 5, Exodus 34 verse 7, and Deuteronomy 5:9 all say the same thing essentially. I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of their fathers.
That's right. There's consequences to bad things that we do.
That's not good, though. Being jealous is not a good thing. If I've got somebody who's overly jealous, who's willing to kill out of that jealousy, who's willing to punish children who are not even responsible out of that jealousy, I'm not going to look at them as a good, loving being. And I'm curious how
what
you
happened
see it
in your life? What happened in your life that you can't stand this guy?
I read the book.
Yeah. So why are you wasting time with this guy?
I'm not. I don't think he's real. Right. This podcast is to understand why other people believe it, why other people still worship this guy. Especially after reading it.
Well, you're looking at the parts that you don't like.
You haven't told me the good part yet. I'm still waiting for that. Tell me which part I should be looking at.
Well, we're in Christmas time.
Uh-huh.
And God, in his perfect timing, sends his son, fully God, fully man, lived 33 years, died on the cross, taking on the blood and punishment for all the wrongdoing of all humanity, so that we can experience fullness of life and freedom.
That's it.
That's the kind of love that God has given us.
Man. So the love is Jesus dying on a cross. That's the love.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh, this all-powerful being,
greatest.
can do anything he wants. He can snap his fingers. He can actually forgive people normally, like a normal human being. I could ask for forgiveness and say, hey, man, I'm sorry. He'd be like, yeah, you know what? Forgiven. But instead, we get Hebrews 9:22, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. Yahweh does not want to forgive you without something dying instead of the regular forgiveness. That's disgusting. That's not love. If I told my kids the cat had to die in order for me to forgive them, you wouldn't call me loving, you'd call me a monster. If I told my son his brother had to die because he did something bad, you'd call me a monster. You would think I was bad. You wouldn't call that a loving story. Oh, look at that guy. He really loved his kids. He loved everybody so much he killed his kid. No. I have the option and I have the power to do otherwise. And so did Yahweh. Yahweh has made his choice, and his choice is blood and death instead of love and forgiveness. He goes through the Bible killing people just because he's jealous. He's angry at at everybody. Jesus gets angry. Jesus gets angry at a fig tree and curses it. He gets so mad and
demands blood.
Huh?
When you offend someone so badly, it demands blood.
Right. My offense to him is I don't love him. Oh, wow. So now he's so mad at me for not loving him.
You are minimizing.
Huh?
You're minimizing your offense to
right,
God.
I am because it's petty and ridiculous that because I don't love him.
Hey, you can't even live up to your own standard.
What's your point?
I don't know why you're interested in resolving this issue.
I'm very curious. It's curiosity that brings me here.
I don't hear curiosity. I hear a lot of frustration.
Well, yeah, because I'm asking for a loving story, and you're telling me that blood sacrifice is a loving story. The blood sacrifice is pointless. It didn't need to happen. And Jesus himself forgave people without bloodshed.
You have a difficult time understanding the purpose of blood.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I know its purpose. It helps me live and survive. But Yahweh's
shallow understanding of love and forgiveness.
Man, how is that?
Well,
how is that? I can forgive you.
All right. So the example people use is Hitler. Hitler has done such a heinous thing against humanity.
The Catholic Hitler.
Whatever religion or atheist.
Oh, he was backed by the Catholic Church. Yeah, he was definitely a Catholic.
I have not heard it that way.
Ah, well, I mean, it's out there. I suggest you look at it. It's definitely a readily available information. I suggest.
Is that a popular notion?
Well, you've got pictures and documents, so I mean, yeah.
So you want to believe that?
I don't really care either way. From the evidence I've seen, I am convinced that that is how it was.
So what would be the right way to handle a person like Hitler, regardless of his religion?
Like before he did all the shenanigans, or after he did all the shenanigans?
As he's doing it.
As he's doing it. You know, I have a very blunt view on Nazis.
Well, I'm just using Nazis as an example.
And I'm just telling you, I don't like Nazis, and I'm okay with punching a Nazi.
Necessary.
Just saying.
Blood is necessary in certain situations to resolve justice.
Oh, man.
And forgiveness.
Right, but the scenarios I've given you, not loving, respecting, believing, or cursing a ghost, are not reasons, are not good enough reasons. Does that make sense?
You lost me with ghost. That didn't come up.
I must have drifted somewhere in there. But regardless, so not believing in him, not loving him, and cursing his ghost, these are all punishments or punishable by eternal damnation. So Hitler
not all Christians believe that.
Regardless, that's what's in the Bible. I mean,
Well,
if
again,
you do not love the Lord, a
it's
curse
how-
be upon you. I mean, it's
how
pretty
people-
straightforward.
It's how people read it.
I just read that one. That was pretty straightforward there.
That's fine.
You
That's
know.
fine.
Well, I mean, 1 Corinthiams 16:22. If anyone does not love the Lord, a curse be on him. What do you think that means? Am I getting it out of context? Because I mean, it seems pretty straightforward to me. How about eternal punishment for finite crimes? Let's just say the cursing of the Holy Ghost. Yahweh says I deserve eternal punishment for that. Do you think that is a just and fair punishment for cursing a ghost? Or how do you take that verse? How does that, what does that mean to you when he says that he can't forgive you? For Mark 3:23, whoever blasphemies against the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven. He is guilty of an eternal sin. How do you take that?
I don't have a good answer for you because you're not open to understanding a God that's complicated,
Mm-hmm.
who can kill because he believes it's just,
Wow.
and who has died on our behalf to show that he's loving and just.
He didn't really. Well, you know, he died,
And
but where is he now? he's in
He's
heaven.
an infinite person.
Yeah, he's an
He's an
infinite being. He died for 3
person,
days.
And you're using finite categories
Uh-huh.
trying to judge an infinite person.
I will judge him because he kills children, and at that point, I'm going to judge anybody. If you kill children, animals, people, if you cause harm, I'm going to start to judge you. And I'm very curious, why don't you judge him for the things he's done? You worship him for the things he's done. Why can't you judge him for the things he's
So
done?
are you judging me?
What? No, I'm asking you a question. If you can worship him for the things he's done, why can you not judge him for the things he's done?
You go ahead.
Well, I did.
If there's a
a
God,
lot.
if there's a God, and we've
If.
mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
he's all powerful and he gets to call the shots.
Mm-hmm.
You can judge all you want, but he's the king of the universe.
And that doesn't make him automatically the good guy.
You can ask all the questions you want. It doesn't unseat him from where he is. Now, if you want to go to the route of denial, then let's go denial. Where does that leave us in this broken world? There's no God. We're speculating for no reason.
There's no God for me right
wasting
now,
our
though.
time.
And I'm doing just fine. I'm being the best
Okay.
me I can possibly be. I'm empathetic towards other people's needs. I try to help out where I can. I don't send thoughts and prayers. I send
Right.
actions. You know, I mean, I do the best I can.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, but yet I
But
deserve.
It really bothers you. But it really bothers you. There are people that have religion in order to get through life.
No, I don't think it really bothers me. It just really baffles me. It's very confusing on why people need this religion, and I got to get to the bottom of it, and nobody ever has given me a straight answer, really. I mean, I've gotten a lot of
Do you like
assumptions
to read?
and what's that?
Do you like to read?
I do like to read.
I can send you some books.
Oh,
People that can explain some of those things.
well, I'm very curious as to what they are. Can you name like two right off the top?
Evidence that demands a verdict.
Evidence that demands a verdict?
Yep.
Okay. What's that about?
What's the evidence for why the Bible's true and why God is God?
Well, I mean, does the book somehow prove that God exists? I mean, it's quite a
Go
thing.
through all the. They go through all the arguments. There are people that have spent their careers doing those kind of things to answer the questions you've had. Another popular book is Case for Christ.
Ooh, yeah, no,
And-
nope. Yeah, not a big
And
fan of
there's
that one.
There's a movie. There's a movie
Yeah.
version. If you
I've
prefer
seen
not
it.
to
I've
read.
seen it. I've seen it.
And then there's another book, Reason for God, Tim Keller.
Reason for God.
Yes.
All
That's a
right.
very intellectual, philosophical, reasoned for skeptic approach to explaining why God is plausible.
Well, I will definitely look into these. I can't guarantee that I'll
Hey,
read all of them.
Send me your address. I'd be happy to send you a copy.
Oh, well, I
If you
would like that.
listen to audiobook, I'll send you an audiobook.
That sounds wonderful. I actually like that. And I'll send you one of my books when my book eventually comes out here, hopefully by the end of the year. But
Okay.
yeah. And then there is one book I would recommend, though, that I'm not going to send you. I've already given away two copies of this, and I don't have any more. But Demon Haunted World by Carl Sagan, I think, is an excellent, a good source to start.
Mm-hmm.
You read that one?
No, I don't read skeptic books.
Well, you want me to read your books, but you're not going to read my book?
Well, here's. I'm trying to answer your question, which you said you find it baffling.
Yeah. No, I want to know you. I don't care what
I'm willing to share with you.
Strobel thinks about things. I know what Strobel thinks. I want to know what you think. That's the whole purpose,
I try to share, which doesn't resolve your baffling.
That's true.
But I can certainly share more.
I appreciate you trying. I do.
So do you want to resolve your baffling, or do you want to understand what I believe?
Well, I'd really like you to read Demon Haunted World and my book.
I'm not going to I'm not going to spend time on that.
That's
Sure,
sad.
I'll tell you why.
That makes me sad.
Hold on, I'll tell you why. It's a very personal thing.
Tell me, DJ, what's up?
Because 3 years ago, I wound up in the psych ward.
Uh-oh.
I've wrestled with bipolar disorder for 20 years.
Sorry, that's no fun.
And it was because of my faith community and believing in the goodness of God that has kept me living.
I'm sorry
Amidst all the messiness of the baffling questions that you have, and many people have. But the good outweighs the bad, which is a funny notion that some people have.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, though.
Well, you have to, if you open your eyes, you see both. There's both good and bad. There's both good and bad. And the way as I look at the evidence, or as I look at my life experience, believing in a good God has helped me more than believing in a bad God.
I can see how that would make sense. Believing in a child-killing deity wouldn't help anything. I mean, honestly, not to make light of the situation. But yeah, of course, you're going to believe in the positive, the thing that's going to help you through it. I mean, I hate to do this, but like Harvey the Rabbit or other people have, and I don't mean to make little of the situation, but people have invisible friends that help them get through things. They have these non-existent helpers, and I don't diminish that they're helpers. I think there's other ways. I think there's better ways to do it and go around it besides this book that has genocide and blood magic and singing animals and all that. I don't think that all that's necessary.
Do you want to understand what I believe, or you still want to wrestle with your baffling questions?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate your time and your answers, and I wish you the best, man. Honestly, I do. And thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Will you take on the Islam?
Will I take on Islam?
Will you take on Jews?
Well,
Will you take on ISIS?
I've talked to Jewish people.
Why take on the Bible?
Why take on the Bible? Because I grew up in the church. Both my parents are pastors. I grew up going to church every Wednesday and twice on Sunday. I read the book. That's what happened. I read the book and I was like, holy cow, what was I thinking? This isn't right. Wait a minute. And then the questions led to more questions and questions and questions. And before you know it, you can't. It's like the Wizard of Oz. I've looked behind the curtain. I can't close the curtain and just keep believing. Does that make sense?
As they say in the movies, and I think movies can be a reflection of real life.
Mm-hmm.
You see what you want to see.
Yeah, that's for sure. You see what you want to see. You see the good in the situations that I see as just horrific and pointless. So, and that's where we're going to end up, and that's fine. We have our opinions, we have our views. You have your personal experience. I can't deny that, and I haven't had a personal experience. So, any day now, that'd be great. Prove he's real. Come on down, say hi, send me a telegram, anything.
When you're on the edge of suicide, it's very sobering.
Oh man, see, and I hate to say this, but there's other ways. There are other ways. There are other saving graces. People have had other things save them besides a book that condones slavery and rape. I'm amazed that you made it through these things.
The same book has helped many more people.
Right.
Than
well,
other
it's
ways.
Done just as much damage the other way, man. You can't ignore the bad stuff.
I am looking at the world completely. I think the good outweighs the bad.
Well, I haven't seen it, and you haven't told me enough to really convince me that there's enough good in there to have it be a good book. Period. But I congratulate you on being able to get this far, beating the bipolar as much as you have. I think that people are stronger than they think. I congratulate you. Keep up the good work. I don't believe that. I know you don't. I know.
People are desperate. People are desperate in this world. Anxiety and depression are higher than ever.
Well, yeah. Have you been outside?
Worst in Japan and Korea.
Because they're atheists. Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
People are desperate in the world, anxiety and depression, because they're atheists?
No, because they don't know what to do.
Oh. Well, I don't know what to do.
If you
I
have
got anxiety and stuff, but...
Hey, if you don't have an answer, why don't you help some people?
I don't have any answers. I have lots of questions. That's what I have.
Yeah.
Lots of questions. And
religion has helped millions and billions of people.
Right, but you can't outweigh the bad and the good, man. You can't leave the good and brush it under the rug. There's a lot of bad things that this book brings. Right in the New Testament, it tells you to respect your slave masters as you would Jesus. It puts them on the same pedestal, on the same level.
Hey,
that's terrible.
There's terrible things. There's good and bad in everything.
Right, but I don't call it good.
There's good and bad in everything. And one of the things that I've had to grow out of is naivety. And you have to pick the one that is going to help the most people that you think will be helped.
Yeah. Well, and I think... yeah. All right, well...
And religion has helped more people around the world than anything else.
I don't agree. I think religion has poisoned so many things from the playground to the White House, man. I think.
I'm with you there.
Well, if you believe the good outweighs the bad, and I believe that the bad outweighs the good, then we are at an impasse, and we're not going anywhere with that.
I want to find the good. So.
I understand. I do too. I want to find the good. Jesus says, love your neighbor. Well, that's a great idea, I think. I think we should all love our neighbors. What a great idea. But Jesus also said that he's going to come back and send me to hell. He's going to throw people into fiery furnace. So, that's not very loving. That's not very awesome.
Our impasse is not that. Our impasse is, I found something good. You found something good. I'm not going to question what you found good.
One verse.
Why are you hurting me for mine?
I'm not hurting you for yours. I'm saying that the thing you've chosen isn't necessarily good. Unable to forgive people without something dying isn't a good thing. Loving your neighbor is. That is a good thing. Well, unless it's I
just described everything's good and bad.
Uh-huh.
I found some good.
I didn't.
You're questioning me for my good.
Though. Yeah. Well, I did. I questioned the good as not good. And if I did the same thing that Yahweh did, you would question me for sure, 100%. If I didn't,
You're no Yahweh.
it doesn't matter. Again, see, why does he get a pass? It doesn't. As soon as you demand bloodshed for forgiveness, I'm going to tell you, whoa, how is that a good thing? And there's no good answer. There's no good answer for, I need blood to forgive you. There's no good answer to that.
How old are you?
Ooh, I am 39.
Okay.
Why does that matter?
I'm just curious how much life experience you had with blood.
Blood. Well, according to Yahweh, Leviticus 17:11, blood is used for magic only. It's only used for this forgiveness process that he has created through bloodshed.
I'm not interested in Bible. I'm just talking life.
Life, okay. My blood keeps me alive. Doctors use it to diagnose what's going on inside me. What else do I need to know about blood?
Have you seen people die?
Yes. It's terrible. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend worshiping a deity that is okay with that. That's okay with people dying. That causes the death of people. I think there's
death
always...
is a reality.
True. Death is a reality. But death is not an answer to man, I'm stumping here. Death isn't the answer to forgiveness. There it is. Whew. I don't, doesn't make any sense to me. I need forgiveness. Well, something's gotta die. What? What do you mean? Why die? Why is something gotta die? Well, that's just the way I made things. And it's great.
I mean, you've watched, so you're 39, you've watched movies.
Quite a few.
You like action adventure?
I love movies, man. Throw some at me. Yeah.
Revenge movies?
Let's see. Count of Monte Cristo is one of my favorite revenge movies.
Why? I mean, those are examples of why people do go for blood.
Oh, wow. Those are tangible, real reasons. Like, Dante was locked up. His wife was stolen. He was lied to. He was betrayed. Yeah, absolutely. Yahweh, I said bad things about his ghost, and I don't believe in him. Oh, and I called him a child killer. That's completely different reasons for getting revenge. Jealousy is not a good reason to get revenge. Does that make sense? What's your favorite movie?
I'm not sure if you're trying to understand your baffling questions or you're trying to understand what I believe.
What's your favorite movie?
I like Truman Show.
I love Truman Show. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good stuff. Yeah, but yeah, good show. Nothing I can go with on that one.
And that's all life is. We're just going through the stages of life.
Yeah.
And we're in the movie.
We're in a movie. We're in the Matrix.
We're in the movie. I hope I'm more than just a battery feeding liquid energy to the system.
Hopes.
Circle of life. That's true too.
Oh, see, great movie. Lion King. Didn't like the remake. But, it's not a popular opinion. See, there's a popular opinion right there. Everybody thinks the new Lion King remake was awesome. I thought it was terrible. Give me the old one. I'm not a big...
Nothing like the original.
Yeah, Beyonce. Everybody loves Beyonce. I'm going to say it right here. I'm not a big fan of Beyonce. I'm sorry. It's just not my thing. So she can call herself the queen, but she's not my queen. I think I lost about 10 subscribers right there. But you know what I mean? The popular opinion doesn't mean it's right for everybody. You can believe, and there's billions of people that believe that Yahweh's a loving deity, but his book tells me otherwise. Somebody who kills children, somebody who needs magic or uses blood magic in exchange for forgiveness is to me, don't forget the eternal punishment for not loving him. To me, is not a loving act, is not a loving deity, is not caring, is not just or fair.
You're stuck on one interpretation. There's many ways to parse that out.
Right, but I take it as it's written. I don't need to add or twist anything to it,
That's fine. Well, I hope you get a better resolution to your I don't know what you call
Confusion?
baffling, but
My confusion. Do you believe in prayer?
why waste your time on baffling questions and confusion?
Because lots of things baffle me. Do you believe in prayer?
Sure. Yes.
Yes. So do you have this one-way connection to Yahweh?
Now, Lee Strobel was a skeptic. He
Lee
did a
Strobel's
quest for his.
I'm not going to go
question.
Lee Strobel. I don't like.
What did he do wrong?
So do you have at least I don't like Lee Strobel's reasons for believing. The ones I saw on what was it, the Case for Christ movie, was he couldn't create life in a lab, so he's like, yeah, Jesus. And I was like, that's not a good enough reason for me. So regardless of that, do you have a connection to Yahweh? Can you pray to him?
Yes.
Okay. So can you ask him things and he like answers you? Because I have questions and he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't respond. And if he responds to you, maybe I can ask you questions. You can ask Yahweh, and then we can get the answer that way.
Okay. Deal.
Okay. So why did he? Okay. So why did he need blood on the doorways during the Passover? If he knows exactly what house is going to be, why did he need the blood? Are you asking him now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've heard it explained.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, my Bible knowledge is rustier than yours.
No
I've heard it
worries.
explained that the blood over the doors was a object lesson and an illustration of the blood that would be necessary for the ultimate Passover.
These people never saw Jesus. These people never experienced that. I don't think that's a really good excuse. But is this what Yahweh said? This is his answer?
Oh, it's an explanation I've heard.
Oh, well, can you ask Yahweh? I thought we were going to do this whole. You ask. Mm-hmm.
I did.
Oh.
I asked Yahweh, and my sense from my understanding of the Bible as a whole, as one entire story, that is mostly coherent, that the Old Testament were stories that illustrate what ultimately happened in and through Christ for all humanity.
Okay, so can you ask him why he needed...
What happens? And so what happens? Well, let me finish. And so what happens is when the Jews believe by faith that applying blood to the door, it's a response in faith that God would pass over them and protect them and give them life.
That was already the point. The point was not to hurt his own people. The point was to kill the, Egyptian children. So can you ask him why he needed to show these people blood Jesus relation, even though these people aren't going to be anywhere alive anytime close to the Jesus story? It just doesn't make sense to teach these people about Jesus when they're not even going to meet the guy.
Yeah, it's the Christmas story again.
These people weren't there for the Christmas story.
Yes, that for thousands of years they were waiting for the Messiah.
Right, but that doesn't explain the blood on the door.
And Jesus came.
They were already sacrificing animals. There was already blood. So they didn't need to put blood on the door to know. Jesus. That doesn't make any sense.
And the blood and the blood and sacrifice is to illustrate that no matter how much sacrifice and no matter how much prayer and no matter how much good work we do, that we can feel the freedom and the conscience of total forgiveness, and that God would no longer be mad at me.
It's not total forgiveness. I still, go to hell for cursing Yahweh's ghost. So it's not total forgiveness. It's forgiveness, but except for that one thing. You know. But I mean, since we've got this one-way connection here, why did he feel it was a great idea to kill children in their sleep?
His firstborn son died too.
He caused that. He didn't have to. He could have snapped his fingers. So he didn't have to cause the death of everybody else's firstborn son because he was going to kill his own. That's kind of ridiculous. Tell him I said that.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, you don't believe there's a God.
That's his answer?
Not to you.
Not
You don't
to
believe
me.
there's a God.
But what was his answer? Did you ask him?
You're not going to hear nothing.
No, I don't hear anything. I've talked to him before. Even as a believer, I talked to him. I didn't hear him. But you hear him. Apparently, we're having a conversation.
When did you lose your faith?
Ooh, good question. I started to lose it as a teenager. That's when I started to really question things, and the whole turn or burn thing was really hammered on me. It was really kind of hard.
I hate that.
To deal with. Yeah,
I hate that. I'm
tough
sorry.
stuff. No worries. You know, they break you down. They do it, and you get past it. You move on. No big deal. Well, I guess it is kind of a big deal, but still.
The bad Christians and the scandals are just, and the politics are just terrible.
I agree.
It's worse than the killing babies in some sense.
Wow. I wouldn't, politics and scandals versus killing babies. I'm going to have to say killing babies is worse. Depends on the scandal, I guess. But,
Depends on your
generally.
view on abortion, too.
Please tell me where it says that Yahweh's against abortion. Nowhere. Yahweh actually agrees with abortion. He uses it as a punishment. Bitter waters in November. I keep doing that. Numbers 5. He aborts babies out of jealousy in Hosea 9. And then there's the flood where he aborts every baby on the planet. So why would you even think that Yahweh is against abortion? Where does it say that Yahweh has any special affiliation for children? That he loves children any more than anybody else?
You're digging through the Bible.
All over the place, man. There's all kinds of Bible verses here.
You found all kinds of offensive verses.
Mm-hmm.
What did you find in the book of Job?
Job. Oh my goodness, man. I'm so glad you asked that. Job 2:3 says, and he still maintains his integrity. He's talking about Job. This is Yahweh talking about Job. And he still maintains his integrity, though you, Satan, you incited me, Yahweh, against him, Job, to ruin him without any reason. So this is telling me that Yahweh was able to be incited, tricked by Satan in order to see if this guy was loyal enough to him. He killed his kids. He killed his sheep, his servants.
On a dollar bet with Satan.
Right.
Trading Places. Remember that movie?
Well, the what? Which one?
Trading Places.
Uh-huh. Well, there's a lot of remakes, but
Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Yeah, all those kind of. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were pawns in a game for two guys making a dollar bet to see if Eddie Murphy's character could be a stockbroker.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a dollar bet.
Right. So this is a bet with Satan.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. You believe it's a bet with Satan, which is even crazier to me.
I'm just working with the text, whether I believe it or not.
Right, but why would you think this is a good thing?
We're just working with the text here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Job 2 says that.
Uh-huh.
And then what do you find in Job 38?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have that pulled up. What do you got?
Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me.
Wow.
Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation?
Uh-huh.
Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know."
So this gives him the right to kill kids? Make a bet with the devil?
Hey, read Job 38. Let me know what you think.
Right. I just said, this doesn't give. Okay, so this being the one who created things does not give him justification to kill people out of a bet with his arch nemesis, when he should have known Job's loyalty to begin with without even having to test him. It's kind of pointless. And then his kids and sheep and servants die for what reason? Just to see if Job is loyal? What kind of monster does that? What kind of monster kills things to see if somebody else is loyal when they should already know if he's loyal or not? Like Abraham and Isaac. Go kill your son. To test your loyalty, I'm going to have you go kill your son to me. What kind of monster even asks such a thing?
Hey, the monster doesn't exist.
Well, to you he does, and to billions of people he does. And that's scary. You're calling this monster good.
Well,
I'm so confused on why he is good.
Yeah, because you're seeing an imaginary monster that others don't see.
Well, I'm not seeing any monster, actually. I'm reading about one. I haven't actually seen him. Have you ever seen him?
No. No one has seen God.
Oh, that's not true. Moses saw him face to face as a friend sees and speaks to people. That's clearly. And then the whole mountain thing where all the Israelites went up there and they talked to him and all the leaders and whatnot.
Yeah, what do you do with the inconsistencies in the Bible then? Bible also says no one's seen God, so.
Right, exactly. John 1:18, no one has ever seen Yahweh except for Jesus. But Exodus 33:11 says Moses saw Yahweh face to face as friends do. And he's not the only one. Jacob saw it. Was it Jacob? I think Jacob saw him too. I mean, it's not the only one. It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contradictions.
A lot of contradictions.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam and Eve saw Yahweh. Who do you think was walking in the garden with them? I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Jacob, that's what it was. It was Jacob that saw him. Genesis 32:30. So Jacob called the place, whatever he called it, saying this is because he saw Yahweh face to face, and yet my life was spared. So people have seen him face to face. The Bible clearly says it. Yet Jesus tells us no one has seen the Father except the one who is from God. And, we know that's not true because we have the Old Testament. We have the Old Testament, which tells us otherwise. So it's very contradictory. There's a lot of contradictions in there. How do you take the contradictions in the creation story right off the bat? Genesis 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah. How do you make that work? How does that work for you?
There's ways to explain it.
Yeah, but you have to twist things. And it's like, with the explanations I've heard is that number 2 is more detailed.
To you, it's twisting. To others, it's complimentary.
Well, okay. But I mean,
you're going to laugh at them and you're going to belittle their faith.
No, I just think it's interesting because you go Genesis 1, it says that Yahweh created man and woman after he created all the animals. But then you go into chapter 2, Yahweh creates Adam first, and then the animals, and then Eve. So it's a complete contradiction in storylines. You got the birds out of water in Genesis 1, birds made out of the ground in Genesis 2. There's complete contradictions there. Like obvious contradictions. Blatant contradictions. It's not
that
something
bothers
you just
a lot.
patch together.
That bothers you a lot.
Well, I'm not going to follow a book that contradicts itself right off the bat. I mean, let's go with the self-help book.
But it doesn't bother a lot of other people.
Well, I don't think they look at it like you said. I think they don't address the tough issues and they just brush them under the rug. I think that's a problem. I think we should address these issues. I think we should look at the characteristics of this deity that the Bible is describing. I think we definitely should read this whole book in its entirety and take the bad and measure it against the good and find, do we really need this? Should we find a different source of good, of direction, of inspiration? And I think we should. I think there's a lot better things out there.
What have you found better?
For inspiration than the Bible? Movies, right off the bat. Holy cow, man. Movies inspire. Movies
I have a friend who
tap into so many emotions.
300 movies a year.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Has he watched all of them yet? That's a lot. Holy cow.
He's got a library of 10,000 movies.
Wow, he puts me to shame. That's amazing.
And he also listens to 8 sermons a day. Well,
how do you have time for all that? Are these those?
He doesn't do much else.
Yeah, I would see. Maybe, unless they're like those 10-minute sermons, because then you can fit those in. You can fit a lot of those in.
I did find out his secret. He listens at double speed.
There you go. Have you ever done that with like a book or something? Or a lecture?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Put it at double speed?
Oh, yeah. I'm a podcaster. I listen fast.
Yeah, for sure, man. I noticed that when I was doing, what are those lectures on the great courses or whatnot. I was like, this guy's, he's just slow talking. If I just speed it up, this is great. I can get through it faster. I'm not as bored. Yeah, I love it. Well, we are definitely out of time here. We have definitely gone over, and I appreciate you hanging on, man, and all your answers and the conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the back and forth and the movie talk, of course. That's my favorite.
All right.
But definitely I got to go. We'll stay in touch. I'll keep in contact, and I'll let you know when this goes out.
Okay. Happy holidays.
You too, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Bye.
That's all the podcast there is for you today. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard and want to help keep the recording light on, simply go to patreon.com/BSW the podcast and sign up to be a supporter of the show. Your episodic tithes of $1 or more will give you access to the patron feed, unaired conversations, early access to each episode, and much more. For the latest events, BSW swag, and a peek behind the scenes, head over to the show's ever-evolving webpage at thebiblesayswhat.com. Thanks to the cosmic powers of the internet, it is now possible to buy me a beer or coffee online. Simply go to buymeacoffee.com/BSW the podcast and click the appropriate buttons. If you can't support the show monetarily, please like, share, and or leave a review. As always, you can find me at the Bible Says What Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram pages. You can also reach me at bswthepodcast@gmail.com. And no matter which platform you use to listen to your podcasts, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on the next episode. Until then, would you kindly pick up your Bibles and read them?